art is a little wrong. Look at this eye right here. Oh, and how messy these strokes are. And the slightly wobbly anatomy here. Yet the overall picture still looks okay. And it still works. Not everything is right in my drawings. In fact, I don't always know the right thing to do. Artists get things wrong for two reasons. Lack of knowledge or reference, or because they choose to break rules on purpose. In my case, it's mostly because I just don't know enough. Still, that doesn't mean I have to be absolutely right or follow art rules all the time. I just have to be right enough to be convincing. You see, my drawings are usually a mix of enough right things and wrong things. But usually it takes some time before you notice something wrong in an otherwise good painting because your attention is drawn first by how the drawing is presented to you. In other words, your eyes focus on the composition. This is why the thumbnail is important. It is the first thing the viewer will see when they scroll on their timeline. Try to observe what you do whenever you see a post by your favorite artist. It doesn't even take 2 seconds for you to judge if you like it or not. A viewer doesn't immediately focus on the details. Rather, they focus on the overall picture and the readability of what the artist is trying to convey first. And then they look at the details if the drawing captures their interest enough. There are some ways I use to make a thumbnail captivating. Dynamic poses, lines that go back towards the character or the focal point, value grouping, and perspective. Every artist uses different methods, and they're not limited to the ones I mentioned. But if a thumbnail isn't so captivating or dynamic, that doesn't mean the drawing is automatically not good. In my case, I make up for it by upping the other elements. For example, I try to leave good textures and plan good colors. There's so many ways to make up for your weaknesses and balance them out with your strengths. And believe it or not, some wrong is also needed to make the illustration look more aesthetically pleasing. Some things that look unrealistic are often more beautiful. For example, lighting scenarios may be exaggerated in order to create a more interesting palette. Additionally, a lot of really good artists I follow don't render very hyper-realistically, and you can visibly see the brushstrokes. Some express clothes with only one big brushstroke and that's it. Yet they up the other elements of their art through composition, good colors, etc. They give the illusion of detail when in fact there's so little. And that's how you can tell that they're very skilled artists. They know how to balance out the elements in their illustrations. They break rules on purpose to make their illustration look good. Even if they don't go all in on one component, they distribute their skills throughout all the other ones. Now, as artists, we are always on the producing side, providing art content for the viewers to enjoy. But because we get preoccupied with the technical side of things, we tend to forget the simple reasoning behind why people consume art. Well, why do people consume art in the first place? It's simply because it appeals to them in a specific way. It may be because they like the style, or because they like the character, the story in your drawing, the composition, the place, which is to say, it is because they liked at least one element that they thought the artist executed well. At the end of the day, what matters is how pretty your art looks, how long you can make viewers stop scrolling, and what you want to convey or express. To make the art pretty, you need skills in different elements of illustration, but you also need to balance them out. Once you get better at meeting the halfway point between what other people like and what you like, an audience will be able to appreciate your work as long as you keep on improving your skills and how you distribute them in the elements of your art. Besides, obsessing about getting everything right may stifle your creativity, so don't be afraid to be a little wrong.